Well, they say there's never a dull moment in the winter or in the off season. I don't know if they actually say that, but the way the Astros are running things, there definitely aren't many dull moments. And Dana Brown's kind of flipped the script a little bit. Are we giving up prospects? Are we getting them? Mike Stanton's here to talk with me about it. We're going to take it back to the bullpen.
I'm looking to the bullpen to bring my lefty in. Keep the lead and make your team look pedestrian. It's in your wheelhouse, we'll swing for the fence. You know it's money around here, and I ain't talking expense. Strike one, heat it low in the way you can't hit it. You know you want to start a rally, but you better forget it. Strike two, off speed, same spot, your car looking. Get ready at the plate, this time you're not cooking. Strike three, swinging out of the zone. You ain't even touch it first. Tell me how they gonna drive you home. Walking back, looking like we ain't cool then. The game's over, might as well put them back to the bullpen, oh yeah.
That is right, and we are back in the bullpen. It's myself and Mike Stanton, like we come to you right now just about every week. We have, we took a little bit of time off, and last time we spoke, Mike, we talked about, let's let things happen. Let's let the events unfold. Now, I don't know if I had it on my bingo card for Kyle Tucker getting traded, but tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, there's only one place, and that's going to be on X, formerly known as Twitter, and that is at Mike Stanton 29. Now, the last time we talked, it was all about Juan Soto. What is that going to mean for the rest of the market? This, that, and the other. And we said that, the winter meetings were probably going to be uneventful. Well, they weren't completely uneventful. The Yankees got a big left-handed arm in Max Fried, but the rest of it was more just set up since the first domino had fallen in Juan Soto. And, the one that we're all worried about as far as free agency concerned is Alex Bregman. But Astros have a little bit of an issue because they went ahead and traded Kyle Tucker.
Their best outfielder by far. I mean, this guy is a 5-tool player, but because of Juan Soto, he has turned the baseball world upside down as far as money. I think it started with Ohtani. I mean, if you want to talk about the origins of paying players money, $1 million to Nolan Ryan in 1979, 1980, it's all old Nolan's fault, right? But here we are. Kyle Tucker, it is estimated that he will get between $400 and $450 million when he becomes a free agent. We hear now that the Blue Jays had actually offered an extension to Vlad Guerrero Jr., and he turned it down. So they say he will get anywhere between $400 and $500 million. So this next year, we're going to have some more big contracts coming up. But Mike, we got back Isak Paredes, a true pull side hitter who is going to love hitting home runs into the Crawford boxes and over the Dakin Park train. And then you have Cam Smith, who is a very highly touted shortstop. They said in the future he could play first, he could play right field, he can do it all. And then we got a righty out of Cy-Fair High School, Sam Houston High School. So what's your take on the Kyle Tucker trade? He had 1 year left. Do you think the Astros should have got more, or do you think the situation Kyle was in, they were that some people are saying it was an overpay on the Cubs' part?
I don't think it was an overpay. I mean, because you're talking about getting one full season of Kyle Tucker. And yes, the Astros got 2 big leaguers and a top prospect in return. So I think that it was a good haul. I wouldn't say, Dana Brown absolutely crushed it. And also on the other side, I don't think that Dana Brown won this trade. I think this was, just a good heads up trade by Dana Brown, just simply because, and listen, people, I understand. I really do. I know how you feel about Kyle Tucker. I feel the same way. This dude is one of the best offensive players, one of the best right fielders in Major League Baseball. But the Astros can't just continue to let these guys walk in free agency without getting much in return. Getting a draft pick that's somewhere in the 20s, that's just not enough. And, Dana Brown, the reason he was one of the big reasons why he was brought in was to build up a minor league system. That's really his forte. That's what he's been doing for a good portion of his career. That's one of the things he did in Atlanta, was help build that system to what it's been. So, you look at it, how do you do that? Well, you do it through the draft.
Yeah.
Astros haven't had a chance to have high draft picks because they've just been so good for so long. And the other way is going to be is through trade. And, you have to bring in guys that, top prospects. And that's what Cam Smith is. I mean, he was a number 7 overall pick, or number 7 overall prospect for the Cubs. And he's a top 100 prospect in Major League Baseball. And the Astros didn't have any of those. So, that's a big part of this, because it's not just, and this is where Dana's job is really difficult. It's not just about maintaining the current club, trying to make the team good for 2025. It's about 26, 27, 20, and going forward. So you have to have those minor league prospects. And listen, I told a couple of days ago when we were on, I said, I do not envy Dana Brown, because he has to make tough decisions. And this was one of those decisions that needed to be made, because you can't just let Kyle Tucker walk out of the door free agency. Even if he does have a great season, you're just not getting much in return when it's all it is, draft pick. The question is, what happens to Fromber? I think Fromber very well could be moved also. Some of it's going to have to do with, exactly how good are the Astros at the trade deadline. But I think that's probably more likely for me. And again, I have no inside information. This is just me in all the years that I've been around baseball and know how these things work. I would be surprised if Fromber, I won't be shocked, but I'd be surprised if Fromber is moved here in the offseason. I think if he gets moved, it's more a trade deadline situation.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, can you imagine what our farm system would be if we were able to trade Springer a year before, if we were able to trade Carlos Correa a year before they came up? I mean, it's just like, wow, like what we could have done if we would have traded. I mean, now if we would have traded Bregman last year, I mean, I guess you're kind of signaling that you're sailing it in, but it was time to get something. And Matt Shaw was the prize that most Astros fans were wanting. And the Cubs were like, we are not letting a number 1 pick from this last year go. Now, Cam was, I think, number 14 overall pick in the draft. This kid crushed it in at Florida State. His first stint with professional baseball, hit 6 home runs in 6 consecutive games. I mean, I know it's high A ball, Mike, but it's still professional ball, and they
still got to hit it
times in a row.
And I've always said the hardest throwers in Major League Baseball are in the minor leagues. They're not in the big leagues, because by the time you get to the big leagues, sometimes that fastballs come down a click. Now they should have more polish by the time they get to the big leagues. But yeah, I mean, and it was only 32 games. Sample size was small, but he had an OPS of somewhere around 930 or 950. So the dude's legit. He's got big power. So and he's going to step into the Astros organization and immediately become their number 1 prospect. So that, as far as that's concerned, you gotta like that move. Is Kyle Tucker going to be missed? Of course he is. I mean, this dude's an MVP caliber player. We've seen that before he fouled the ball off his leg twice, 2 days in a row, and broke his shin. This dude was top 3 in MVP. I mean, it's just crazy how good of the season and the progression, the slow, methodical progression that Kyle Tucker has made over his career. There's no reason to think that he's going to slow down. He's just now getting into his prime. So, good luck to Kyle. Unfortunately for us Astros fans, we're going to have to watch him. But I mean, Dana has to make these tough, hard, unpopular moves in order to keep this organization substantial and playing October baseball.
Exactly, because over the last week we saw that the Rangers re-signed Eovaldi, which was a good return for them. We know that DeGrom is going to actually be healthy going into the season. Now, can he stay healthy?
How long? That's
I mean,
right.
But the Rangers are talking to Jock Peterson. They're looking for some complementary pieces. You can imagine that offense, as powerful it is, isn't going to stay down 2 consecutive seasons. The A's have made some weird moves. The Mariners have been in talks about trading Julio. Castillo.
Yeah.
Luis
Castillo. Yeah.
Luis Castillo. I don't know what I said. I was thinking Julio Rodriguez.
Yeah, J-Rod.
We know they need an offense, but the Astros. So we see Alex Bregman possibly not coming back. Kyle Tucker is gone. That is the 2nd and 5th overall pick in the 2015 draft. That will no longer be a part of your organization. And I believe, and I'm sitting here looking on the calendar, I believe that the Cubs come to town. I thought someone said they did. I'm looking on. Yes, June 27th. Kyle Tucker.
Right in the middle of the summer. Yeah.
And let me tell you, just bring your World Series 2022 towels to wipe the tears, because that's going to be a legit tribute moment.
Right. And the tribute is going to be epic, because there's been so many highlights for Kyle Tucker. And I still listen. I'm between the two of us. I know you say you're the optimist, but I am the true optimist here. I still think that there's a pretty good chance that Bregman comes back. When you heard what Dana Brown was saying earlier this week, prior to the Tucker trade, they were very optimistic that they were still now. I mean, of course they're going to say that, but I think that they're being legit. They're being truthful, saying that they really feel like that Bregman is going to come back.
Right.
And I think with this Kyle Tucker situation, him being traded to the Cubs, I think that may have, thinking that Bregman's going to come back, that may have made that trade just that much easier. Still not an easy trade to trade a guy with the caliber of player that Kyle Tucker is.
Tough.
But I'll tell you, it's tough. But and I know in the last couple of days there's been some crazy numbers thrown out there that one rumor was the Dodgers or not the Dodgers, the Detroit Tigers are over $200 million. You got to take all that with a grain of salt. You don't know. You don't really know what it is. Those are just.
You don't
rumors.
know if there's leaks. You don't know if stuff's put out there.
You don't know if it's. You don't know if it's truthful. You don't know if it's legit. Yeah. So.
Well, and I know Ari Alexander of Channel 2 did say that he checked with several sources, and the Astros are still in talks with Bregman. So it hasn't shut down. There are other people that say we believe that Bregman has been gone, figuratively speaking, for a while now. But here is the thing. If they don't bring Bregman back, they've considered Nolan Arenado, which is an interesting spin, because Nolan had a very down year last year. He's owed. Now,
he hit the ball okay.
He hit the ball.
He hit 272. I mean, that's
true. That's not okay. That's not bad.
Where he has gone downhill in the last 2 years is in his power.
Right.
His power, power isn't just home runs. It's also doubles. And the Busch Stadium, or whatever they call it there in St. Louis, not a good home run park. I mean, that is one of the bigger parks. It's one of the true fair parks in Major League Baseball. It's not for the pitcher, it's not for the hitter, but big gaps, which means there should be doubles, and he didn't hit a whole lot of doubles either. So. Listen, we also know the one thing you're going to get with Arenado, he may be the one defensive player that is on par, not maybe even better, at least for his career.
10 gold gloves. I mean, you can't argue with 10 gold gloves.
And listen, Arenado would be going from a more pitcher-friendly ballpark in St. Louis to, we know Minute Maid is a more hitter-friendly park.
Exactly. Now, Nolan Arenado does have the $27.5 million, I think, attached to him. I do know that the Rockies are still paying $5 million of his salary each year.
Okay.
The Astros would probably ask St. Louis to take that, or if they could talk Ryan Presley into getting traded in that move, they could move Ryan Presley. The question is, do the Cardinals want back a prospect? And if you do that, that goes against what Dana Brown was brought here to do. It wasn't to give away prospects.
Well, I don't think that's. I don't think if you can get, and listen, Presley is still a more than serviceable reliever.
100%.
I mean, he is still good. He's making, what is it, $13 or $14 million. So you're not, there's not. There's not, as far as what the Cardinals are paying, there's not a huge difference in that. And maybe Dana Brown can get them to split the difference or something like that. But, the problem is for the Cardinals, Nolan Arenado is a big name. I mean, it's a superstar name, but he has not been a superstar type player. So the question is, what is his value? What is his value? Well, his value is whatever the Cardinals can get for him. So, I think that if they can't get Alex to come back, I think that would be a viable option, because at least now you still have a very, very good defensive player at third base, and he could still have a bounce back year, just simply because you're not talking about a guy that's 38 years old. I think he's 33 or 34 years old. Right. So there's still, I think there's still a pretty good chance that he could have a bounce back year, especially getting in a more hitter friendly ballpark here in Houston.
Because
I still can't say, is it what, Dakin Park? Is that what it is? Is it Dakin? Dakin.
Yeah, it's either Dakin or Dakin. I'm just like, let's just call it the ice box, or I'm still gonna call it the juice box. We can't call it the frozen juice box. I don't know.
There you go.
But hey, real quick, I was at State of the Art Barbershop today. My son got his haircut. I saw Ever. Man, he's got some new barbers in. They've got fresh blood in there. They are churning out the haircut. So if you guys need to stop by here in Friendswood, 1616 South Friendswood Drive, go to State of the Art Barbershop, talk to Ever. They've got an app. You can set your appointments whenever you want to. It lets you know what's open and what's not. And hey, sometimes he can slide you in quicker. So like if you got to be somewhere and you just get that 1:30 slot, but you got to see him at 1, there are times he can move that for you. So make sure you do that. Check it out. Tell him that Back to the Bullpen sent you. And don't forget about our Back to the Bullpen t-shirts.
Here we go.
You can find exclusively at Ram Shirts. Mark at Ram Shirts does a phenomenal job. If you're not following Ram Shirts on social media, do it. He's doing giveaways. I mean, he has great prices. That QR code on the screen, scan that. You can get this shirt that the pros wear. And when I say pros, I'm not saying a pro like me, a pseudo pro. I'm talking about an actual pro like Mike Stanton. Mike, we've got an outfield that Dana Brown, and I'm sorry, don't take him seriously when he says we're going to go with Chaz and right and Myers and center, and we're going to platoon and we're going to look for a left fielder. I can't wrap my mind around it. And it's not a slam on either guys, because I've talked to these guys personally. I've talked to them one-on-one.
Sure.
They're good dudes, but we know Myers' arm is not there. We know his bat is too inconsistent. Chaz has the ability to have 20 plus power and opposite field power, but it's not, I don't believe that it's a consistent delivering product. You've got bargain deals out there like Max Kepler, who's a free agent, who doesn't super wow you, but he's a solid veteran. You've got you can bring back Jason Hayward. You've got Alex Verdugo, guys like that out there. And then Carlos Baerga is throwing all around Instagram that he believes that Anthony Santander is going to become a Houston Astro. Now, I think a move like that would only happen if Bregman doesn't come back, because that's the money you allocate for one guy for another. But I don't know. What do you think about our outfield? I mean, our outfield is suspect going into 2025 right now as we speak.
I would agree with that. I mean, and you know that in left field, the platoon, Jordan is still a better player when he plays the outfield.
100%.
I mean, he is. He has lessened that gap between DH and playing in the field. but he's still a better player when he plays in a better hitter when he plays in the field. And by the way, you butchered that dude's name. You said it like a true Texas redneck, Santander. It's Santander.
Santander, my bad.
I got to make fun of you whenever I can.
It's okay. Hey,
you know what? That dude's going to get paid. That's another guy. Now that's another power bat that home runs pay. So, my opinion is if you're going to pay Anthony Santander, pay Alex Bregman. I mean, that's it. They're not the same positions, but the point is, if you're going to pay one, pay the other. And that would be the other, anybody else that they would bring in for third base, free agency. I mean, you're still going to have to, if you don't get Nolan Arenado, let's say Bregman, God forbid, he doesn't come to Houston.
Right.
You can't pull off the trade for Nolan Arenado. What are you going to have to do? You're going to have to go in the free agent market. I mean, you're going to have to go out there and find somebody to play third. But one thing that people need to understand, listen, yes, I understand what the date is. Christmas is 10 days away or 12 days away, whatever it is.
Wow.
It's right around the corner. But this offseason, this hot stove season has just started because the number one piece just came off the free agent market just a few days ago in Juan Soto. And we've seen it in the past that the big dogs kind of stay on the market, and then you get some signings underneath, and it's just one of those type markets. Well, this was the opposite. It really seems like Juan Soto had almost the whole free agent market held up. Now it's time now that he's off the books, now the trickle down effect, the domino effect can happen, and the rest of these guys. So it's. I know it seems to be getting late as far as the calendar. Spring training seems to be just right around the corner. But as far as the free agent market is concerned, we're just getting started.
Because one of the things that I heard someone say was that reverberations throughout, I guess, the clubhouse or amongst the players, according to Michael Schwab, he does have player contacts, is that the players felt like losing Kyle Tucker, they understood the business side of it.
Yeah.
But it was a travesty ball club wise unless they can get more outfield help to come in. So I think the players are really probably not really saying it, but looking at Dana Brown saying we really need another outfielder to help us out to complete this puzzle. Because if you can do that, Mike, this is a winnable division. This is the weakest division in baseball. All of the superstars have gone to the National League. There's going to be Armageddon in the playoffs. Kyle Tucker versus Shohei Ohtani versus Bryce Harper versus Juan Soto. I mean, it's almost criminal how many superstars are in the National League. Not that there's zero superstars in the
American. It's definitely heavy National League.
Heavy. Man, so when we talk about that, and when we go to a Santander, okay, I think that's how you say it. Did I do it right?
No, you missed it again.
Santander. See, this is what we're gonna do. If they sign Mr. Anthony, okay, we're going to put on the back.
Just go back to the redneck Texas version, Santander.
Hey, we're gonna put on the back of the shirt, back to the bullpen. It's Santander.
Yeah, we'll have to put the little accent mark.
and have you with this face like
oh, again.
Oh,
we're supposed to talk for a living here.
Yeah, geez, wow.
At least you're not an English teacher.
Oh, let me tell you something. The two things that would be the two most criminal acts that would be in Texas is if I was either an English teacher or a math teacher. It would be those kids wouldn't pass a single standardized test if I was at Hey, history I can do. 1821, 1836, I got that nailed. But so let's say the Astros. Okay, here's the deal with Isaac Paredes. The word is the Astros want him playing first base, not third base. He's a third baseman primarily, but his skills, and I think his size, he's not as mobile, and that's why they're looking to third base. That's why they're looking at Nolan Arenado, because they're like, if we're going to replace him with somebody, we need a good defensive replacement. Because when I look at the other defensive replacements in the league, it's a big drop off. I mean, they're major leaguers. To me, in the major leagues, you've got to be very good. There's only 750 major leaguers in the world. So you're one of less than 1,000 people that are doing what you're doing. But Jorge Polanco doesn't do it for me. Now there is if we get the first baseman Carlos Santana, I believe, from the Guardians on like a 1-year deal, you could put him at first, and then you could keep Paredes at third. You have a decent bat, an aging bat, but do we want to have another aging first baseman? Do we want that narrative again? I don't think we do. I know Astros fans don't.
Yeah, listen, we're going to have to give the dirty word in this situation is patience. As fans, we're fanatics. We want things to be done now. We want superstars everywhere, especially our own superstars.
Right.
We have to give Dana Brown a chance to do his job. He's going to, and this is his first time. This is the first time he's really had to do this because, he came in last year in the middle and he still was trying to get his feet wet. But he's got work to do this year. But listen, you made the tough decision to trade to trade Kyle Tucker to the Cubs. It's a tough decision. You didn't want to make it, but you had to do it. Now it's time to build a team. And like I said, patience is a virtue. Patience is difficult. We don't want to have patience, but we got to give the man time to work, time to see what kind of roster he's going to be able to put out there. Definitely need some outfield help, but there's a lot of outfielders out there. Okay. Still got to figure out about Alex Bregman. Number one right now is Alex Bregman. What are you going to do with Alex Bregman? Even with Nolan Arenado, that's a backup plan. That's plan B or C or further down the alphabet. Right now, plan A is bring back Alex Bregman.
Exactly. Now, I've got a question about this Hayden Wesneski, okay? Hayden is he throws a sweeper. I don't know if you know much about him. He's a relief pitcher. The Astros think that he has starting stuff. They want to turn him into a starter.
Well, he's done both.
Right.
He's done both. For the Cubs, he has been back and forth rotation, bullpen. He's been back and forth. We'll have to wait and see. The Astros have had a lot of success from taking pitchers that, have been okay, but maybe some inconsistency and help them find their consistency. And one of the things that Josh Miller and the rest of the pitching part of the organization has done is really try to enhance what you do well, not necessarily fix what you don't do well, but let's really build on what your success has been. And then the Astros have had a lot of success in doing that. So, listen, they love his arm. They love the stuff. That's why he's in the trade for an MVP caliber player like Kyle Tucker. We'll have to see what kind of adjustments they can make with him. But I do know that they like the stuff. They like the arm angle. They like the movement. Just got to try and find that consistency.
Yeah, exactly. I remember a story that Lance McCullers Jr. told us. Lance is they're hoping that he comes in mid-season. And he told us a time when he was throwing. We asked him to tell us a story about Zach Greinke when he was here. And he said, I went to Zach because this guy can throw all kinds of pitches. And I think he was trying to throw a 2-seam or a 4-seam. And he said, man, Zach, I just can't get it down. I don't like where the ball lands. I don't like how I feel when I throw. And so he said, Zach was watching me and he's like, what advice do you have for me? He goes, quit throwing it. It's a horrible pitch. Like you're terrible at throwing that pitch.
That is a great explanation. That's awesome.
He just told him, like,
just quit. Just stop it.
And good Lord, if we could bring back a Zach Greinke.
Oh my goodness.
Gosh. Can we sign him up at the half season? I just want to watch his antics. I want to hear
That's
him
right.
run.
Hey, he doesn't have to play. Just put him on the bench. Let him talk to the guys.
Remember during the 2020 season, he went and sat in the stands with the cardboard cutouts?
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This dude. Wow. And that's the thing, Mike, and we'll kind of wrap it up on this point. The Astros actually have a lot of options starting pitching. They even have guys in the wings, and there's a guy that I want you to look into. We'll talk about more next time. Logan Van Way has moved through, has shot through the Astros system, and Kenny Van Doren feels like he's going to contribute as a relief pitcher this year. We also have Forrest Whitley, who was healthy all last year, towards the end of the season, had phenomenal outings, and he's on the 40-man because he had to be protected, and so they kept him, so he's going to have opportunities. Really, I think there's a lot of things that could happen this year that would actually be really, really neat to watch, and if they could put something together in the outfield, the Astros, to me, solidly compete in 25, where you would think in a year where you lose your best player in Kyle Tucker, oh man, you're done.
Yeah, listen, you can't replace Kyle Tucker. You can't. He's that 100%. Special of a player, and you can't try and replace Kyle Tucker. You just have to put the best 25 men first, defensively, put the best 8 guys out there, and then the pitcher that you can. But it's unfortunate that organizations have to continue to make these type of moves, but you would love for you to be able to keep your superstars all the time, but that's just not the nature of the beast that we call Major League Baseball. So, we got to let Dana Brown have his time. We got to let him do his job. This is his regular season. It's not going to be a blowout like we've seen the Astros do in the past for Dana Brown, but I think that Jim Crane knows what's going on. Jim has also given him the okay. Yeah, we got to make some moves. We got to keep this team relevant. So we'll have to just wait and see what this team looks like when we get to spring training.
Yeah, definitely. It will definitely look a little bit different. Also, Jacob Melton will be vying for a spot in the outfield. And Dana Brown said, hey, some of these young guys, they may surprise you. And we've seen that happen.
Yeah. I mean, that's what young guys are all about, is getting the opportunity and seeing if they can capitalize on it. Now, if you're talking about a team that, you want to win another American League pennant, go to the World Series, maybe win another World Series, not young guys aren't necessarily the way to go, but they're going to be sprinkled in there because you never know. Kyle Tucker, was a rookie at one point. He was just a call up coming from the minor leagues. Right. And, he turns into being, arguably the Astros' best player. Unfortunately, he had to be moved.
Okay. Before we go, this is the last before we go. I don't think I got your take. Did I get your take on the Golden Bat? Now I know Rob.
I don't think you did. Go ahead.
In Rob Manfred's defense, I think he was like, look, it was more banter than something actually happening, but it was something like how ridiculous or how upset would you be as a pitcher?
It's just it's a game show. All of a sudden we turn it into a game show.
So let's just say you're set to face Robel Garcia, and then all of a sudden Juan Soto comes up. What?
No, how about Juan Soto comes up, pops up, and Juan Soto gets the next at bat also.
That's right.
No, so
yes,
this is something that Rob Manfred does quite often. He just kind of throws stuff out there just to see what the reaction was. Well, obviously the reaction on this one wasn't very good. But I had said, hey, okay, you want to give up if you want to give the hitters the golden at bat, okay, then this is what we have to do to help the pitchers. If you swing and miss at a pitch in the strike zone, that's not one strike, that's two.
Ooh, I like it. Look at you. The challenge accepted. I love that.
Curveball in the zone, called strike, swinging strike. You only had one before the pitch, but you're out.
Dude, what if you take a heater down the middle, swing and miss? You're just strike out. I mean, down the middle. I mean, if you can't pipe that fastball over that center field wall and just walk around with your head held high, then you need to go sit on the bench.
This is going to be fun. It's going to be a little stressful.
Yeah.
I will let people know that Major League Baseball doesn't officially shut down between Christmas and New Year's, but a lot of times it really slows down in that time. And then obviously once the new year turns over, it's pedal to the metal all the way into camps and spring training.
Definitely, Mike. This has been great, man. This is a great conversation. Definitely we need to come back sometime this next week and talk some more. Hopefully some more moves have been made. We can put a little bit more concrete or form the statue that's going to be the 2025 Astros, because I think we're in for an exciting season. I think we're in for a lot of exciting storylines this year, especially when someone like Juan Soto goes back to the Bronx. If you thought they hated Jose Altuve, their hatred for Juan Soto just went to a seismic roar. And I mean, so on and so forth. And, the Yankees are going to want to get back and want to kind of prove to Soto that we didn't have to have you to get to the World Series. I mean, so many stories.
The Yankees made themselves better.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
I mean, you got Max Fried, then you get Devin Williams also yeah, Brian Cashman did. Okay, he's gone. I got $700 million to spend now.
Someone goes, what if they made a deal with the Cubs to say, get Kyle Tucker, then we'll send you this guy.
Nice.
We'll bring Kyle Tucker, then we'll sign Bregman. Oh my gosh, I would lose my baseball mind. But hey, Mike, thank you so much for joining us. And everybody, y'all are awesome. Thank y'all for tuning in. Mike, we had nearly 300 people watching us live tonight.
Awesome. We appreciate it, folks.
A great crowd again.
Hey, good Christmas present right here.
Right. That's right. Mark at Ram Shirts. Go get them. They are very inexpensive. They're very comfortable. You can wear them wherever you go, to the gym, on a date, to church, to the ballet. I mean, whatever you do in Mannheim Steamroller, whatever it is, going to watch.
Ballet. I'm sure you've been to a lot of ballets.
No, Eric actually went to ballet. Eric went to ballet. I give him a hard time because I will say this. I did the only ballet I've ever been to. It was an Easter ballet, and Jesus was a ballerina, and I was done.
I think the only nutcracker you've ever done is off the high dive.
I got it from Eric this morning. Now I'm getting it from you. Wow. On that note, I've got to sign out. Wow, brutal. Well, hey, thank you, Mike. Seriously, man. Great job. Thank y'all for tuning in, everybody that's here. Y'all have a good one. And as always, I say always positive, always Astros. And Mike,
adios.
We are out.
I'm looking to the bullpen to bring my lefty in. Keep the lead and make your team look pedestrian. It's in your wheelhouse, we'll swing for the fence. You know it's money around here, and I ain't talking expense. Strike one, heat a low in the way, you can't hit it. You know you wanna start a rally, but you better forget it. Strike two, off speed, same spot, your car looking. Get ready at the plate, this time you're not cooking. Strike three, swinging out of the zone. You ain't even touch it first. Tell me how they gonna drive you home. Walking back, looking like we ain't cool then. The game's over, my